Do you know that idea that there's just some sort of bad luck in your family, or that every single person with a certain characteristic in your family, or with a certain name in your family, always has this kind of problem, or illness, or addiction, or just something that happens constantly in a bad way in your family? Well, that's what I want to talk about today to you today. Hi, I'm Thais. Welcome. Thanks for being here. So today I want to talk about one of my favorite um, concepts in psychology, mainly in systemic psychology, because let's face it, it just sounds cool. And it's maybe because how cool and weird but relatable it sounds that you clicked and you're here. So let's talk about it. Family curses. What's a family curse? Well, in psychology, as in life, you can also take it take it back to the magical, weird, fantastic concept, because it's pretty much the same thing. It's this kind of problem or issue, let's call it issue, that just keeps perpetuating in a family, generation after generation after generation. It can be to something that happens to every single member of the family, or it can be something that happens to certain kind of people, like to every woman, or to every man, or to every child, or to every second child, or it can be something that just happens when you hit a certain age. And the main thing surrounding or that defines a family curse is the fact that it feels unavoidable. And most of the time, you don't really you don't really recognize it. You don't get the fear of it happening to you, because most of the time you just accept that that's the way things are. When a generation gets more awakened, it's when they have this fear. So I'm gonna try to explain it separate. When you have no idea that this is happening and you just accept it as it is, it's like with money. So the family curse could be, we'll never be lucky with money, or we'll always lose our jobs, or we'll never graduate from high school, or just things that seem like, oh yeah, this just happens. This is the way the world works. It can also be with relationships, especially when it's something that's already been normalized, like um, if you come from a violent family, it tends to be normalized, intra-family violence. So you're just like, oh yeah, every every man hits, or every woman is evil. So everyone in this family is married to someone evil that's gonna harm them. And you don't even realize that that's not a rule, that that's just a rule in your family. You just think everyone has this kind of relationships and that's normal. um, when you do realize and you're afraid of it, but you feel like it's a curse so you can't avoid it, it's more like when people are sick, like a family sickness, or a certain age that people are just gonna hit and that's it. They're gonna die at 44, 44 or something. And it's just common knowledge. And you can even joke about it, like, oh, in every Christmas, everyone's gathered and they'll just joke, like, oh, you're gonna hit the age. Welcome to the club. You're gonna be dead in a couple months. Or yeah, of course, because um, every girl in this family gets pregnant when they don't want it and they have to drop school, or everyone in this family is divorced. So, yeah, congratulations on your wedding. We'll wait for you to get divorced so you can rejoin the clan. And that's the main thing. The most harmful and just powerful thing about a family curse is that we perpetrate it because that's how we become part of the family. That if well, let's put it this way. Um, if it's common knowledge, even if it's not recognized, but you just feel it this way, that everyone in your family is gonna catch this illness or have this problem, well, that means that if for some reason you don't have this problem, then you are not part of your family. You are an outsider, and that comes with a whole horrible feeling of loneliness and inadequacy and just a feeling that you don't belong. And there's nothing more terrifying to human beings than not belonging. So of course, if there's a family curse, people are unconsciously gonna perpetrate it to keep being part of the family. Because if you stop having this issue, it feels like a betrayal. Either you're gonna feel like you are betraying the clan, or your clan is gonna feel you're betraying them. Like, how dare you have money? Like, do you know how poor your grandparents were? How dare you have money and, on top of that, have it in an easy and enjoyable way? No, you have to suffer like your grandparents did and like the grandparents of your grandparents did. And it's just the clan will always feel betrayed if someone doesn't perpetuate the issues. And this isn't even conscious most of the time. Like, it's not that the clan wants you to do bad, but or to be ill or just to have this issue. They don't want you, but um, it's just so deep down into their skin, like it's so part of themselves that the idea of not having it, it's just harmful. Of course, it's not really harmful, but it's perceived as harmful. Why? Because the system is always gonna think it's right. Like, let's think of the system, family, um, collective beliefs as a living thing, as a conscious thing, because it all practically is. It's almost a conscious thing. When the system feels threatened by change, any kind of change, even if it's for its good, um, it's gonna fight. It's gonna fight because we feel that we are what we know. We define ourselves with these curses and these issues and these struggles because we don't know any better. So that's what feeds a family curse, the need to perpetuate it. Why does it hurt so much when you realize it and don't want it anymore? Because you know you don't want it, but then comes the idea that you have to struggle, that you have to fight it, that you have to break the system and break out from your family and just stop belonging to your family. And if your family is terribly violent and toxic and just harmful to you, that's okay. If your family actively um, harms you, then the idea of you running up the hills. That's healthy. But you don't really need to physically remove yourself from your family in order to heal. Most families do want to heal. Most families complain about these issues and don't want them in their life. Like, very few families look at lack of money and say, "Yay! I love when I can't find enough money to eat. This is wonderful." No, they complain. They may rationalize it, like here in Mexico, there's a pride in being poor, like, "Oh yeah, God is gonna love me even more, and maybe my president is gonna love me even more. The more the poor, the more poor I am." Sorry. Um, so yeah, there is kind of a pride in the struggle, but no one really enjoys it. Very few people enjoy it, and if your family is the kind of people that enjoy their issues, then yes, please run for healed. But in most cases, what you really need to do is to stop identifying with the issue. And the best way to do this, it's not fighting. You don't have to declare war on the issue. You just have to decide what you really want. And this is the most powerful thing I can tell you. If you want to break um, a family curse, and this comes from a girl who realized her family curses early in life and decided she didn't want them, but still struggled for around 15 years against them until I discovered, because there was one family curse I just decided I wasn't gonna have, and then there was another one that I just kept having and having. I didn't understand, and I felt seriously like I was cursed. And then I realized I was just identifying with the struggle. Like, the more I cried and I questioned God why I was having this issue, the more it kept coming, because I identified as this victim. And you don't have to renounce your family, you just have to renounce the story. So, if there's something you really don't like that's happening in your family and feels like you're not going to be able to be free from, yes, you can. The only thing you have to do to start, at least, because of course, therapy is a great way to deal with this, or coaches maybe, but the real thing you want to do and that works is to decide what you really want. Not with fear that, "Oh, this is what I wish, but I don't think it's gonna happen." No, just decide what kind of person you want to be and what's the story you are going to have. And this also includes your struggle. Like, yeah, I come from a family with this issue, and I'm the one who broke it. And I'm the one having everything I want, and I'm the one being this new kind of person, and I'm going to create a new generation. And there's a beauty in that, because just with someone, with one person that breaks the cycle, the healing starts. And it starts, it's not just, oh, from you on. It's just, it, it reaches everyone. So you start healing everyone, generations up, generations down, just everyone. So please decide, what do you want to be? What do you want it to be your story? And stop telling yourself that you're part of this issue, that your last name is cursed, because it really isn't. Every curse, it's just, in Spanish you say it, mal decir, which means bad saying, and that's it. It's just something harmful that you've been saying and just perpetuating for no good reason, and just identifying with it. And you can totally break it. It's not really a big deal. You can do it. Start by choosing, what do you really want to live? How would you live if this wasn't an issue? What would you believe if this wasn't an issue? Like, if In every family, well, in every generation in your family, someone gets sick. So you've been afraid of getting sick. Then you can say, well, if this wasn't an issue, if this wasn't a family curse of mine, I wouldn't even think about it. Like, the belief can't be, I'm gonna believe I'm not gonna get sick. No, because someone who doesn't have this belief isn't constantly thinking, I'm not gonna get sick, I'm not gonna get sick. They just think, oh, it's very easy for me to be healthy, or it's very easy for me to climb mountains, or um, my family issue is that we are all super successful and we don't know what to do with it. Like, you can change it, and it doesn't have to be linear, it doesn't have to be the opposite. It just has to be something new that you would really like to identify with if this wasn't an issue, because it really isn't. It's just an issue because you make it an issue and then you identify with it. Okay? So that was my intake for today. I hope it worked. If you want to work with me one on one, having sessions, or be part of my workshops, you can follow me or message me through Instagram, Facebook, and here. And you can look me up in my website, Psicología Camint. I appear everywhere as Lily Zone and Psicología Camint. Okay, and please, thank you for being here. Go manifest and be happy and ask for better and better and better and more.